Sound check, test 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. So sound is working, water is there, coffee is also there. Sound is good, perfect, nice to hear. So I see already the difficult questions directly start at the beginning if Flutter supports UWP. And that's a good question, I have no idea. Probably we have to take a look into the Flutter repository and look for the issue. But I'm pretty sure they're working on that. Hey from Leipzig! Nice! It's close to my hometown where I've been born. Reichenbach im Vogtland, if this says something to you. So, just some smaller things to prepare as always. You know me, if there is no technical difficulty, it's not my stream. So that works, cool. Scene change works too. Okay, I think we can start, right? Okay, so I had some ideas since last week where we had our Q&A session, and it was, well, a lot of you had a lot of good questions and it was very well taken. I thought what we could do, and I asked several questions this week inside of YouTube with the questionnaire possibility, and a lot of you asked me what is Dart Cohens. So I thought I will have a look into it, what I programmed there, what the project is about. And maybe also talk a little bit about server architecture, because Mahtab was asking me several questions in the last couple of days that were related to a client-server architecture, and she couldn't really imagine how everything works together. So I thought maybe this would be also a good topic. And that was my plan for today. Maybe you have better ideas or questions, and as you know already, I am usually not doing these live streams as I know everything and you well, just get input from me, but you can ask me questions. I try to answer them as good as possible, find with you together solutions, and then try to solve them. All right, cool. So if there are no further questions, I would directly jump into some code or maybe some other stuff. And as you see, I'm a bit prepared today. Look at that. I have already an open chat window with all your messages, and probably you see it twice because I don't have a second monitor for them. But what's good about that is I will have that in the background mostly, that I can send you quickly chat messages as fast as possible, so that if I have like a link to some GitHub repository or anything, then I can send it to you right away without any downtime. Good. So let's see, Dart Cohens, I talked about them. Here we go. And Dart Cohens is a specific Cohen, and this doesn't help you, but Cohens are tools where you can learn programming in a test-driven development way. That means I have prepared already in the lib folder some asserts or chapter 1, chapter 2, and you can learn how to write tests and also how to write code in Dart and native language. And with that, you learn in a playful way how the language is working. At the moment, we only have 2 chapters because I didn't work too much in that project. But what I want to do today is some upgrade and like packages upgrading, maybe take a look onto if we have some bugs open. And also I had today a very interesting look into Conduit, which is a package that is from Aqueduct, so the new fork of Aqueduct, if you know that. So that is, if you go to GitHub Conduit, then you see it's from this guy. I'm not completely sure. Let's have a look. I'm not sure anymore. It was an own website. I think conduit.io or something. Nope. Yeah, this one, Conduit. So, and here inside, I found a very interesting way how you can work with reflections, because my Dart koans are working mostly with reflections. And if this doesn't say anything to you, that means I check a file in Dart and pick the methods that are inside and let them run inside of a Dart program. And there is a cool possibility, and that would be amazing. You sound twice in the background. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, because I have this one open. Sorry for that. Good point. Thank you very much, clones. Para. So, okay, now I have the chat also open and can read. I think that's also very useful. Make it a bit bigger. Cool. Good. But that was very interesting, because if we take a look into the GitHub repository, and I'm quite sure, yep, perfect. So this is that one. I can share the link here in the chat because, well, we have it. And now here inside, I found something inside of the pull request, that reflectable pull request here from JQ Frost. And the interesting part here is that he's using a package to reflect the classes and methods inside of the Dart package, which I found very intriguing, because that could maybe solve some headache that I had at the first time. On the other hand, I don't know if it makes sense to refactor at the moment inside of Dart koans, because it works, right? So never change a running system in that case. Okay, so what was interesting about these Dart koans? If you take a look, there we had the possibility to just write dart bin main.dart, and we had the possibility to directly write some code inside. And instead of showing you this video, which is quite boring, let's have a look how this looks inside of our project. So I checked that out, and I can maybe share the link too. Not this one, more this one. And inside of here, you will find all the different files as always. And then you can check that out inside of your Android Studio like I did. And inside of here, we want now to execute dart bin main.dart. And if we wait a second, this line appears. So think about chapter 1 asserts. There is a cross, koan assert has destroyed your comma. If I switch now to the, not the Dart, I want to go to the libs. And now here we can see different tests running. So assert true equals false, change something. So, and the idea is that you can now change that to true. And inside of the terminal, you get now a check mark with your awareness that this has been solved. You understood how to work with tests, because this is of course very important if you want to work test driven in this case. And then you get some ideas of that. Of course, you can always cheat and write everywhere true, but this is not the solution, right? You want to learn something. This is if you really want to learn more about this language and getting a bit deeper with the code inside. But what I did found out is a bit odd, because inside of my terminal, we don't see any colors anymore. So I thought maybe this is just a problem of the terminal of Android Studio. So I navigated to Android Studio project, Dart koans. And also here I executed dart bin main.dart. And also here it is missing. My connection is bad. Oh, that would be terrible. How could I check that? I quickly double check everything. So keyboard is in. Let me quickly check. See if I'm live. Yep. Connection. YouTube tells me I have a very stable connection, which is already promising. If this doesn't work out, I'm very sorry. I will have that now a bit in the eye. Maybe something will change there. So maybe I can do that a bit smaller. So put it to the side, and let's see. In the worst case, I have to restart the router, and you know that, as always, connection troubles and issues with YouTube Studio is something of the kind of the whole topic here. Okay, but back to that. So I thought maybe we start by giving this some colors and upgrade the packages that it uses behind. So how do we do that? We can easily do that actually. We go to the pubspec.yaml and just click on pub outdated. to see if we can upgrade all the packages that we have here. Okay, let's get them. Good, got the 13 dependencies, and now let's say updated. Yeah, now. And here we see all the direct dependencies and with the possible resolvable, so where we can upgrade to, and if there is anything that depends on that and couldn't upgrade, but it looks very good. So the easiest way would be to run now pub upgrade, and usually all the packages should be now higher if this is possible. Let's see, did there happen something? So new versions are available. Resolving, available. Have newer incompatible with dependency constraints. So the question is now which dependency is not possible. So let's try to run this one once more and see which version has a problem here. So ANSI color is not the problem, it is resolvable. The test dependency shouldn't be also a problem. Resolvable That's weird. So maybe we have to run Dart upgrade with the major versions. So. When you click the number, so I read right now the question from Rebes. You're asking if you select an MS Word, some text. So you mean if you go, for example, Docs New inside a Google Doc and you write something and select that one, then you will see somewhere probably how much letters this one has, right? Probably it doesn't work here. Okay, so do I have Microsoft Word installed? With a piece of luck. Oh, Word is so heavy. So if I enter here something, I select the word and I don't see anything. I see one of one word, maybe this one. So characters with no spaces. This is what you want, I guess, right? So what I would do is I would check for the selected command. I think there should be something like Flutter select text callback or something. Handle changes to the text field, supply unchanged. But this is unchanged is of course if you write something inside of it. And I think you will need the selectable text class, probably. Widget displays a string of text with a single style. The string might break across, okay. But I guess this one is selectable and hopefully touches event. Use callback of on tab. So I would use this widget here, the selectable text. And after that, I would recognize the on tab function. And then on the on tab, you can do something. And in your case, you would probably get the value out of the text controller or out of the text itself. So you can have a variable with a stateful widget here. And if you press the on tab, you count the numbers of the letters, which should be fairly simple, to be honest. So I guess that should already solve your problem, hopefully. So there's always, if I live stream, everything gets hot. I should just, yeah, exactly, with string.length, perfect. So you can do that with the touchable event here. Cool, thank you, CryptoTech Geek, sorry. Cool, back to our issue. So we wanted to upgrade and it seemed changed two constraints. So we have the watcher now on version 1 and ANSI colors on version 2. Have a look. Yep, looks good. The question is now, why was path not upgraded? So what I did now is if I have installed a plugin, so I can make a command left click on the package and hop directly to the path in pub.dev. So in that case, directly to the package. And what I want to see is where is the difference between the version that I have installed, 1.6, and the newest version. And if I see that correctly, we have now null safety support. And the question is now, is my project ready for null safety? And maybe this is the first step where I can have a look into and see if we can migrate that quickly. And probably you know that better than me, but the command for that is Dart migration, I guess, or migrate. So let's see. Dart migrate null safety. So we are here and we want to migrate our package. So most of the changes, blah, blah, blah. And I think there is a tool for it. Yep, Dart migrate. So let's see if we can do that. Dart migrate. So it's analyzing the project that we are currently in. And there are some suggestion paths. So now it opens up the web browser with the migrations. And the cool thing about this view is now that I can select the different Cohen runners and stuff, and it will show me where he tried to add a question mark or an exclamation mark. So a question mark is that the type can be null. So for example, this one can never be null because we directly initialize it. So it will never be null. But on the other side, there are also parts that can be null if they are not getting initialized. And the exclamation mark means that at this specific location, I as a developer, I'm very certain or more sure than the Dart compiler that this level, that there is something existent. So let's head quickly over, and I think there shouldn't be too much. So var has changed to dynamic, your answer. I think dynamic is correct, so we can migrate that, that's okay. And I see here right now that there is only 2 var declarations that change to dynamic. And this is just necessary because the your answer is used through the whole application at the moment, just to give the user an info that there is your answer that needs to be changed. And it can be a string, but it can be also something else. It should just be a placeholder for the users. Okay, inside of the tests, we actually don't really need them. It's just a copy paste thing. And they should work. Okay, with all that, we can apply the migration. We say yes. And what happens now is these 2 lines have been changed now inside of our project. If I go here and switch over to, you see already there are a lot of commit changes. But if I jump here, we have now the dynamic inside. Back to our terminal, we see migrated 8 files. And is there anything else that we have to do? I think not, just commit the whole thing. So what I will do is create a new branch. Thank you. Yes, clones. That would be if I have the apply changes. Sorry, I have a small delay between the connections. Not sure why, but we have to deal with it. I also checked already inside of the YouTube settings, but couldn't change there anything. But I hope that's okay. So upgrade process. What I do is currently I create a GitHub branch just where I put all the stuff inside so that I can now make multiple commits to it. So what we did is a refactoring where I did the upgrade. No, we did, what did we do? We upgraded to null safety, right? Yeah, so version upgrade and null safety. And null safety. Good, so we can review that. So what do we have? The pub spec has been edited. Good, should be gone. Commit, review, still problems. Unused the value of local variable double quote string. Aha. Yeah, but we want that, right? So this is actually nothing that we want to check. How can we make sure? Also, I think we can write some tests, I think, about that. Because if I solve now the asserts and I would commit that, I would fail, which would be bad because I am not allowed to solve all the tests. Maybe it's something to think about. But with them, I will keep them and commit. And commit. Good, and push. And now to the next phase where we wanted to upgrade the packages once more. So let's see, we may pub outdated. I think this time we will get some more possibilities, hopefully. Let's see if we run that command once more. because now we are in null safety, so we have maybe the option to upgrade everything. No, interesting. Why is he not upgrading the path? And also the def dependencies are not upgraded. So what I will try is I want to just use this command here. Let's see if we can install that one. Pub upgrade path. No dependency changed. That's really odd. It doesn't really matter. Maybe because, it's not a main version, sure. So the reason is because, yes, it's getting highlighted as yellowish and that I can upgrade, but what it is not, it installs behind the scenes a 1.8 version. The reason is we only fixated the major version, but we actually also want to upgrade this version in order to fulfill the yellowish thing from Pendentic. Because the analysis object that we currently use is Pendentic, which is very, very specific that you need to upgrade all the packages as soon as possible. So because it is so picky, we have to be picky as well in this area. So let's see, here we have Pendentic. I think we can also upgrade that to 1.11.1. And the test framework, and this is a good one, I have no idea. It's 170.12. So let's head over and upgrade that. So, and with these changes, everything should still work exactly the same. So if I run this, we have that, fantastic. We can go to our file, chapter 1, and change from true to true. So what do we see? Yeah, green and red, perfect. So the code still works as expected. The only downside that I see at the moment is that we don't have any colors. And this is somehow weird because we use a package for that. So we change that back, and I think we don't want to change here anything inside of our repository. But we want to commit our pubspec.yaml. So this is a dependency, dependency upgraded all file dependencies. Fair enough. So this should be the first step where we upgraded everything. So now I'm still a bit confused. So that means the ANSI color package behaves weird. So out of some reasons, we cannot color our code anymore. Up to the default, I think that's fine with the null safety. So we have used the ANSI pen .white and bold true, and it tells me that it colors directly. You can call the X term. Is it maybe not possible for the default terminal to add ANSI color codes to your log messages easily to disable in production, such set color disabled true? Do I have that somewhere? No. Interesting. So let's head over to the GitHub repository and check out if there is an issue. Documentation not working on iOS. Okay, we don't want avoid as global state. Okay. Not really a problem. It should work according to this. You can call xterm with the index listed in the rainbow below to show the rainbow on your terminal. Pub run examples. Okay, so if I go to this package and download it, I can run it and it should run the example. Okay, let's try that, because if it is just me or is it a package that don't work for me, so we can see the difference here. So let's clone this package quickly, this window. So, and if I read this correctly, blah, 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 xterm, and we want to run this whole part. Run pubget, of course, enable Dart support, to pubget. And run. Could not find exam. Yeah, of course, it's 1s. Okay, as we can see, it works. That's sad. What did we do? Pub run example dot. Do you think that could be the difference? Because we don't run it with pub run. Pub run makes us a difference? No, not really. Where you can find Flutter freelance jobs? Actually everywhere. I hear it in Hamburg, in Germany, for example. They search a lot of people. Munich is searching crazy Flutter developers. Especially in the startup scene, there are a lot of people who are working with Flutter at the moment. Also, what I could say you is that BMW at the moment is searching for Flutter people. So if you are, well, knowledgeable, I think you will find there something. It's not too difficult, actually. Or at least I guess that. I don't know how it is in different countries. I just know it for Germany at the moment. I know in general that Flutter is one of the most ambitious projects where a lot of people are standing behind, and slowly more and more companies taking the advantage and want to use it. So the question is now, why is this working and mine not? So probably because we are working inside of pen reset white xterm. My guess why it is not working is that we are working inside of so-called isolates. So because what we do is we spawn always a new instance in our Dart Cohen's runner, and these printers thinking about blah 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 and print create symbol has expanded your awareness. Oh no, this is the pen, and we color this pen and it's always a new one. Really sad. Why is it not working? So we spawn this one, and while this is blah blah blah. So can I try as a very basic example, just print, and we take just this ANSI color, this pen here, for example. No, let's do it one line before, and we say pen dot color, no green, bold true. We have that already. We just need to say, what do we have to say? Just pen and then the wording that we need. Hello world. And pen is ANSI pen. For the foreground, treat a pen instance as a function such as pass is the same as pen.write message. Could it be that we don't even need to print the whole thing anymore? So maybe this has changed in the last couple of turns. So there is something red, this print here, and of course now I've done stupid stuff. We just wanted to have here this, and we want to have it here. So instead of having the print, we say pen and give here something like hello world. Let's run it. And watcher is watching, thinking about first chapter. Watcher is watching, thinking about runnable chapters, instances is error. Manager spawns, watcher. That's odd. So we run this main, and here inside we have this manager spawns. So we create our own instances, and then we run the Dart Cohen runner inside of it, and we say that the asserts are enabled. Print test. Debug watcher is watching, and let's try it here with the ANSI pen. Cannot do that. Did I get now the... Hey Abhishek, welcome to our channel. So, and I get failed, so we don't get the color either. Do I see the... No, I even don't see... What is wrong? Because this is not printed probably, so I have to print that. Yeah, so now we have hello world, but the color is still not there. Huh. Is it here? Here it works. Okay, great. So that means that the color is really a problem with the instance. That of course means that we don't have a chance to do it, I guess. Why is that the case? That's really sad actually. So what do we do here? We watch, we have our own process. Our own process adds a new Dart instance. We could have that also with pub run. And we are running this part. So probably if I run only this Dart colons, so Dart, this is bin Dart colons runner.dart. Here we get the colors. Okay. And here's everything green. Because we don't have activated the asserts, of course, now. Okay, so if I would enable the asserts here, that should be possible. So we go here and say enable asserts. Now it crashes. Okay. Interesting and sad. Why is that the case? And how could I avoid that? And why did it work in the first place? Hey Nilesh, nice to see you. How are you? Hope you are well. Had a good time. So inside of my spawn, they are getting revoked. Question is now, is this a real issue or can we have it without colors? I like the idea to have it with colors. Main.dart. Really sad. Path relative, path absolute, process manager. Yeah, everything good again. Had a lot of troubles in the last couple of months, but now slowly everything calms down and comes to an end, you know. All the loose strings are getting together and finally we have everything at place where we need it. So we have to pen success. Is there an alternative to this ANSI pen package? Maybe this is working. Color to your terminal logs. They call it now ANSI color. It has likes, okay. It is ANSI color that I use, right? Yeah. Easy disable for production. Just set color disabled false. Maybe I can do that inside of here, that I say, okay, we execute that with a false. But now it will be removed in future releases in favor of ANSI color disabled. Okay, let's just try that quickly. Okay, so if I explicitly revoked, that's good. Okay, perfect. So it seems that if I run that, now it doesn't work as I want to, but if I remove that and say main.dart, now the color is there. Perfect, great stuff. So now we get the green color, the red color, and everything is now better, because the reason, I guess, is that inside of my, yeah, perfect, look at that, great stuff. Because inside of my spawns that I create, so a spawn is a whole new Flutter instance, a new Dart instance where you run isolates and which waits for your user input. It seems that this color disabled flag somehow automatically pushed to true, probably because it thinks it runs in production, which it clearly doesn't. So, and this one gets disabled. What did I read? It uses unzi color disabled for that reason. Okay, so we can replace that and we are happy again. Good, here everything works still. So what we can do is, for example, change that and have the real value on 2. And we get the next colon fixed. Great stuff. So turn everything back, that we don't change too much. Git rollback, go the main.dart. There was just a test where we wanted to see if everything works, which it does. So this one is the only difference that we had. Just quickly double checking. I closed that one and started again. Yeah. Good, so I will add this change, even though that it has nothing to do with the package upgrade, but just add something to it. So we got a feature together, and inside of this feature we brought back the color, or it's more a bug fix, right? To our Dart Cohens. Good. So, and now I would love if our tests would be green at the moment. And let's see what they say. And probably I just copied over the tests. And my idea would be now to have a build pipeline that is running every time and fails whenever we've solved one of these methods. So that would mean if we have here the darts colon subject colon about assert throws assertion error. Ah, perfect. I started with that already. So if this one is now true and I let this test run, we get it in red. Is that correct? The past Max thought about everything. I'm very proud of him. Perfect stuff. But maybe we can have a look into how we create a GitHub Action pipeline that will run automatically whenever we commit something to this main branch to see if our project is still running. Okay, so how would we do that? By the way, if you have any questions or if I talk about something different, please let me know. You have no idea what I'm doing. Perfect. So I'm not doing actually Flutter. What I did, I have an old project, the Dart Cohens, and there you can learn Dart. So writing tests and solve them. So for example, you go here inside, you run in your terminal the Dart command. And what you can see now is everything. So this test has been failed. And now you can go into the project and solve the test, save the file. And in the meantime, the terminal is updating automatically. So if I move this one, for example, to the right side and have on the left side my terminal or my workspace, I can now solve all these problems. So for example, hey, this is 2. Okay, cool. I've solved this issue. So let me think about this one. Is a string a number? How could I solve that? Well, I could solve it by adding here a 2. Which is a bit boring. But what would be if I say something like parse int, or I think it's int.parse or something. Yeah, so int.parse, we add the string, so expected value. And if I save now, hey, it's also green now. So I learned something about the language, and step by step I'm coming further. So now it's telling me, okay, Cohen entered value succeed. So it tells me, okay, I have done it. So if I copy that over, we are now in the next chapter. And as you see, you completed the chapter 1 successful, thinking about chapter 2. Okay, now I, as a good student, go to chapter 2, can have a look here again and solve these puzzles more or less. And with that, step by step, you get better in Dart. And my idea is to add here more and more of these chapters. This is not really my idea. This is an idea that comes from the good old Ruby on Rails. I think they started with these Cohens the first time. So if we have a look quickly, I added that to the README. So if we go to the README MD, you can see that down here in the special things, we have the Butler Mac. That was the first idea where I saw the Dart koans already, but he was not that advanced that it automatically run the tests all the time. So, but what I wanted to do is actually copy over some of his tests. But as you see in the project itself, there is currently not so much done. So the next idea was to go back from Matthew and take the idea from the Ruby on Rails people. So for example, or Python? Ah, it was Python. Okay, sorry for that. It was Python. So the Python people did it exactly like I did now. So think about this, X, Y, Z. Give some of the examples with green ticks and red ticks, and you can think about it, and then you can solve the enlightenment more or less. And they did it also with reflections and everything like that. So if we go to the koans, you see they have a lot of different chapters. And there would be the idea that we say, okay, about asserts, then we have, I don't know, about classes and stuff like that. And then slowly regenerate their project because inside of Dart. So if someone is completely new to Dart, he can start right away, learns the language, and I really like the idea. So in the meantime, I can now say, and what I did today is just upgrading the packages so far and made it possible that the color is again here inside so that you have some visualization about how everything looks like or how your tests are running at the moment. So this is a dependency, upgraded packages and brought back color. Good, now I could leave a comment what exactly I did, but because I work mostly alone at the moment, I can merge that anyway. So, but what do we see? We don't have currently a pipeline. So we don't have GitHub Actions running. So my merge request actually, well, I could merge it, but I don't know if it is actually valid. Are all tests still running? Is the app still correct and stuff like that? So what I could do or want to do is now set up a GitHub Action. And if you have never heard something about Ci CD, I would recommend you, I have created a video about that. So a very small brief introduction into Code Magic versus GitHub Actions. And these GitHub Actions are an automated workflow that runs whenever a trigger is created. So for example, you push to a specific branch, suddenly your build pipeline is running. You create a merge request, your build pipeline is running. You want to be sure that your tests are running inside of that. You want to make sure that your application builds still and is still executable inside of these GitHub Actions and stuff like that. And if you have a Flutter project, for example, what you can do is connect it with Google Play and Apple Store. And the good thing about these GitHub workflows is that after you push, so for example, you merge one of your merge requests into main branch, suddenly it starts this build pipeline and pushes everything up to the Google Developer Console. Which brings me to the point that maybe a video about Google Developer Console would be maybe a very interesting point. I have to write that up. Some advice on how to practice in Dart and Flutter and how to be good in programming in general. Very well questioned and very good put together, because what I like about your question is you don't ask about only Flutter, because Flutter is just a framework. It will not help you if you only know Flutter. So what I recommend you, and this is how I learned Flutter or how I learned in general programming, because in my old days I worked together with what was the language? It was horrible. Java side. Primeface was the framework for it. What was the name? Let me quickly take a look. I hope they still do it. Primeface, and they did it with JSF. Yeah, Java server-side framework. Still very popular, and the framework itself is great. So Primeface is really, really great. It looks amazing, actually. I think you can do a lot of cool stuff with it, but the programming language JSF, I don't like Java anymore. So not really my biggest fan there. But what I did is I was able to try a lot of things inside of it. So I created a little elevator tool, and I had a lot of co-workers and also some people that I could always ask questions. So when I was in the study time, I had the possibility to learn from them. So asking questions is a main part to learn a language or to learn in general something about programming. Because inside of the study, you usually get like paper and you have to write code and you learn error messages from scratch, but none of that really helps you in the real world. You will probably need to solve bugs. You have to read tests. You have to solve tests. You have to create tests. You have to get through all these struggles before you get even close to a good programmer. And then still there is the gap where you have all this knowledge and you still feel like, okay, I'm still at the beginning, because for example, in JavaScript, there's every second a new framework. So what you will have to do is, okay, what do I actually want to learn and what can I transfer easily? One example, I started at Sono Motors this year, so sonomotors.com, which is a company that creates this funny car here, and I'm really proud of it because it will be very green, so environment friendly. We are a company that drives that, and I am believing in the company and not so much in the technology because we are working with React Native. But what I could do, or what I did, is I transferred my knowledge that I collected in Flutter and transferred it to React Native. Of course, I knew already a lot about React Native, or more about React, so the transfer was pretty easy. But what there's additionally to it, like project structure, understanding how code works, seeing the different flows, how to debug, working with state management, and all of that is very much transferable because Flutter is, for example, declarative, and also React Native is declarative. I learned also a lot of downsides in React Native and also some downsides in Flutter. So you will, what should I say? You need to write code to get better, if this makes sense. So that was my advice. I know it was a bit too much. Sorry for that. Thanks for subscribing, Blue Eyes. Great to have you on the channel. So who do we have next? Ujjwal, I explain about mixins. Not able to understand via documentation. Okay, let's have a look. Dart mixins. First, let's go to the documentation and let's try to read it step by step. So what do we see here? Mixin. Yep, the keyword, we search for that. Mixins are a way of reusing a class's code in multiple class hierarchies. To use a mixin, use the with keyword followed by one or more mixin names. The following example shows two classes that uses mixins. So we have the class master, we extend by something, and then we have something additionally on top of that. Okay. Okay, so we want to loosely couple maestro and musician with something additional. So it is not only a person, but it is also a musical. Or it has the benefits of a musical, if I can read that correctly. To implement, create a class that extends object and declare no in the constructor. Unless you want your mixin to be able to use a regular class, use the mixin keyword instead of class. Okay. So we created like an object, like a class actually. And unless you want to be usable as a regular class, which we won't, but this is the good thing about Dart. Everything is a class, right? So whatever you do, class is always right. Use the mixin keyword instead of class. For example, okay, so let's have a basic example. Let's head over here to our Scratch file, go to Dart. And now we want to say we have two classes, like, I don't know, cyclist, which is a bicycle driver, a skateboard. How do you call a guy who's skateboarding? A skateboarder? Skateboarder? Let's call him longboarder. I'm more at the longboarder guy, so I think that makes sense. Cool. So we have these two, and now we say they have the benefits of using the street, right? So we have something on the street that we want to connect with them. But if you think about it, a cyclist doesn't extend a street. So he's not part of the street, you know, they don't really are combined. But maybe the street has some things like surface or that makes the speed or something like that. So we have the surface, we have maybe fraction that we can calculate inside. I don't know what the street has, right? It has a width in the worst case, so double width and stuff like that. So this class of a street, the representation of a street, is very useful for the cyclist and the longboarder to calculate stuff. So we want to have that inside, but we don't really want to mix them together because, as I said, you cannot say that a cyclist is a part of a street. That doesn't make much of sense. So there comes the mixins into play. So if we have a mixin here, we can say, okay, this cyclist is always combined somehow with the street. And now suddenly you see that blue arrow. Now suddenly they are connected somehow without actually connecting that. And it's very important that the cyclist doesn't show the arrow up because it is not extending it. If we would extend the street, so let's have this a class and extend it. Oh, it's worked exactly the same. Oh, I'm telling stuff. Sorry for that, but let's have a look. But now we have this mixin here. And with that, we can head over once, and this is not mixin, this is width. So, and also this one has width street. Good. And now we have the combination with a loose coupled part, I guess. So this would be my suggestion why we would need mixins. Sometimes you want to restrict the types that can use a mixin. For example, the mixin might depend on being able to invoke a method that the mixin doesn't define. Sometimes you want to restrict the types that can use a mixin. For example, the mixin might depend on being able to invoke a method that the mixin doesn't define. As the following example shows, you can restrict a mixin's use by using the on keyword to specify the required superclass. On musician, musical performer on musician. In the crazy stuff. Okay, so this one is the other way around. You would restrict that even. That extend or implement the musician class can use the mixin musical performer. Makes sense because singer dancer extends musician. Singer dancer can use mix in musical performer. Okay. So extends musician, then he can use that one. Interesting. So to give a bit more examples, we have this now and we have a method that we can maybe implement. So the street has, I don't know, what has a street for a method? What can it do? I don't know. It can sing for us. Doesn't make so much sense, but we want to say that. So it will sing. Can I have, no. Okay, so if the cyclist would use now the street, we can execute here probably something with the string. Maestro string name, maestro name can conduct true. Can conduct comes from the parent, so we can just override these things. Okay, so inside of our constructor here, exactly, so inside of here, we can now execute stuff from the street. So we could say, so for example, surface equals 10. And this is allowed because we have access to the street, so it will not complain. So if we would remove that, for example, it is still possible. Interesting. But where does it go then? Print play piano, waving hand, can play piano is true. Can conduct is true. It should override that, but why doesn't it do it? The maestro extends person with musical aggressive demand, name maestro name, and can conduct. So this is just the override. And why do we need that now specifically? That use mixin. So we have the two classes extend each other, but we want to have it loosely coupled. So that's for sure. But why can I now just override that? Why is that a benefit? Ah, because I have the different class hierarchies. Okay, so let's say the cyclist and the longboarders are both persons, right? So if you have a person and this can do something, now if you extend them, now you have the street still on them. So, but if this one wouldn't be a person but a robot, for example, that we could also create, now both of them still can use the mixin on top of it. So, and this is very important. So that means this one is a different extension hierarchy. So the longboarder is getting extended by the robot, while the cyclist is a person, but still both have the benefits of the street. And I think I told that at the beginning. Good. So I still understood correctly. So, but what I cannot do is I cannot access the stuff that is inside of the different classes here. So if there is an int, I don't know, no, let's call it a bool and say is human, and this one is a bool is person, then we shouldn't have any access to that, hopefully. So if person equals true, that should be perfect. But if we have is robot, hopefully it fails now, because else it's still green. Oh, guys, I'm getting crazy. You remember I worked in a Scratch file, and the problem with a Scratch file is that it doesn't show the errors correctly. So probably that is my issue. So let's create a real main.dart. Let's call it main1dart. Add this. Oh, look at that. It's so much better. That was stupid. Sorry for that. It made me nervous, and then I just talked and going into my own grave. So with that, we can now, I think we don't even need the main method. So why is this stuff red? Yeah, because of non-nullable, of course. So this is something different. Can go over here. Some question marks will fix that. And now we see the error. So is robot is not existent anymore. So if I remove now up here in this one, it's also getting red, you see? So that means now we have interfered in one. So if I could draw that, do I have a tool for that? I think draw.io, right? So draw.io. Decide later. If we have like boxes, right? And we have person, and we have robot, and we would say they are all thinking. So both of them are thinking, right? So we could say, okay, this one, and of course they not really think, they machine learning, but this is an abstraction, right? So this is, I don't know, calculate. So they both can calculate. And now the person and the robot share this representation. But now on the other side, inside of person, we have now this how did I call him? Cyclist. The cyclist. And on the robot side, we have now the longboarder. And as you see now, if you combine these two, so how do I manage that both of them have something that is in the level of calculate, for example, but you don't want to interfere inside of this hierarchy chain? Then you can create a with, so a mixin. So this is our mixin. And this mixin is now still related to both of them, but has nothing to do with the rest of the upper world. So you don't have to change your whole class extension hierarchy, more or less. And of course there are some smarts behind, so that's the reason why you see all this down here, because with this on and with this with, you can even declare you don't want to allow it everywhere. So let's say you want to, like they told it with the musician, because this singer dancer needs to be a musician. It can be a musical performer, because the musical performer says it has this musician on top of it. So only if you are a musician, you can be a musical performer. And we can do that with the mixins, and with that we disable users of our class to use things they are not allowed to. I would be always very careful with things like that and only use it if you have a very specific use case where it makes sense, because else you overload your programming environment and people will not necessarily understand it as easy as someone who's thinking about these stuff. Good. I hope I didn't do it too complicated. And as I said, I was a bit nervous, but maybe try a little bit around with these mix-ins and with classes and hierarchies, and maybe learn a little bit more about how they extend each other. And then it helps you, I guess. Cool. More ECO project going forward. What is ECO? Echo? Ah, yeah. Environment. I will hope so. Yeah, I'm really into that stuff because at the moment I think it is one of the biggest issues in the world, right? So and biggest threats for humankind. So let's hope that we can fix that. I love the content. Can you please explain app monetization on app stores? I mean, are free apps profitable? I can give you a short intro. They are profitable if you do something that people are interested. If you are just putting advertisement inside of it, I guess it will not be, successful. And profitable is also a very stretched word, because usually apps don't really earn money, or not, at least not a lot of it. So it's just a luck strikes that today is earning money. If you check out the app stores, usually to get listed in the app store and even high rated in the app store is a task that can take years. It's really difficult to get up to the 100 best apps or newcomers or stuff like that. Also, usually today you work together with companies that will help you to get the level. Another option is, of course, if you do live streams or active on Twitter and stuff and try to get users onto your app. The issue with it is, like, the advertisement is not really profitable if you don't get a lot of people onto your apps. You can always ask for donations, that helps, and I hear that this is usually a pretty good possible way to earn money. But yeah, I will take it on my list. Actually, it's very interesting that I have never made a monetization video, because I think there was an update in Flutter 2.2 or something where we have now packages for that. And is there also something for private? Sorry, I was just here right now. So no, they don't support Flutter. Huh, maybe something where we can open source a bit, right? Okay, well, good, fair enough. So, how to handle roadblocks while learning Dart and Flutter? Ooh, that would be a fantastic question for Mahtab, actually. How do you tackle roadblocks? So, first of all, that highly depends on yourself, of course, because you need to motivate yourself. You need to sit in front of your computer and write code. You need to be passionate, understand how it works. What helped me a lot at the beginning was I did tutorials that I did already once. So for example, I started with JavaScript, and I was okay-ish with JavaScript at the beginning and learned every day something new. And then I tried to solve again tutorials that I had done, like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and I did 1 month ago, and then, I don't know, a year ago. And the reason for that is I tried to memorize, of course, but on the other hand, I saw how much progress I did in the meantime. So if you do a tutorial and you come back 3 months later and you see the tutorial again and you sit there and say, oh great, yeah, this I have understood, and now I can do this and this, and he makes there a mistake, and oh, and if you do this and this, you can also learn that. And this has 2 main advantages. First of all, you get this boost for yourself. Hey, I'm getting better. I understand what he's talking about. But on the other side, you also get the more finer nuances in between. So you understand suddenly more. And with that, you get also a deeper understanding of the parts. For example, for me, null-aware operators were long time a thing that I didn't use because I was always afraid of it. Or if cases, there are 2 ways of writing an if statement, right? I had a long time troubles to use the shorter form for if. So if, I don't know if you know that, but if you have a bool like hello, and you say, hey, if there is an if with this hello, then you return true. and else you return false. Okay, this is a very bad example, but what you can do is having a string test. And if this is true, then you say test equals to hello world, and else it is Wyoming. So, and hello is in this case false. So now if you say that and you think, okay, it's very clear what is here, right? You have the if statement, and in the university I always learned that, so that was super easy to understand. And suddenly JavaScript gave up one new level of if statements, and suddenly this thing was here. I was like, is that good? Will everyone understand how this works? That this one is the Boolish question, so the check if this is correct or not, and this one is true and this one is false. It is not really speakable, right? You need to know that stuff. You need to understand the question mark here is not as a null operator or something, and this double colon here is something, you know, it doesn't speak to me anymore. With more and more practice, I suddenly understood, and I saw also, okay, this is way more cleaner because it takes less space, and you of course have to be careful that you don't wrap them too much, because if you have now inside of here again a Boolish algebra, like, I don't know, hello equals false, and say again test equals blue or green, then it's getting a little bit messy, you know. Then after a while, if you nest these things, it doesn't really look nice anymore, and it's very hard to read. Of course, you could mix them together and stuff, but just, you get my point, you know. A lot of these things channeled or chained is a bad practice and very hard to read. Whew. Yeah, so as I said, repeating is always key. Learning is best if you repeat it. Thank you for subscribing, Charisma. Nice to see you on the channel. This is not fair, I didn't get notified again. You have to click on the bell icon, and I have never said that in any of my videos, and then you get notified usually. Yeah, exactly, ternary operators is the name. Thank you so much. Can you share templates for different UI in Hub? So on GitHub. Actually, I'm always interested that people always search templates for that stuff, because, well, Flutter does a lot of these things. But if you are doing something like searching for a Git login screen in Flutter, you can do something like search like this, login Flutter, and you will get a ton and ton of different login screens, for example, which are usually pretty cool to use. The only thing that you have to keep in mind is your license. So be sure that you always use MIT license or something that has a license, else you can get some issues, lawsuit and stuff. So nobody wants to have that. The good thing is usually you get a good documentation, it's easy to use, you can implement it in your projects, also get some ideas. I know this is now a bad idea. And what I also can recommend you, if you search for inspiration on how to create an app, like Flutterfolio is great. In Flutterfolio, they all did something that you should, let me think and then talk. G. Skinner team created Flutterfolio for responsive design in Flutter. So how to work, sorry, not responsive design, adaptive design, because it's also on different machines. And with that, you can get here the GitHub repository and check that out. I should use that here. Like so, and push also, I don't know, what have I closed now? Not prime faces, but stuff like that. And if you then still search for inspiration, well, you could try. I don't know how good it is. In the meantime, I CodePen, exactly. On CodePen.io, you can search for pens, and I think you can also search for Flutter here, where you will get some ideas on how Flutter stuff is done. Like the Twitter clone from Mariano and stuff like that. And I think even I did some of the smaller things here. Let me check if I have a login somewhere. Good, that worked. Your work, do we have something? I haven't created projects, but pens. Yeah, like my 3D Flutter logo or profile card and stuff like that. So you can get some inspiration here too. My video lags still? Oh, that's sad. Sorry for you. I'm cracking. I look at the speed, but YouTube tells me everything is fine, so difficult. Sorry, guys. Huh. Hopefully it's getting better. Okay, talked again a lot. Hey, Uchenna, nice to see you. Great stuff. So, should we work on the GitHub Actions on our project? It was quite a large circle to come back to GitHub Actions. But what we want to do, or what the plan was at the last, is that for our Dart koans, exactly this ones, we want to create an action. The reason is we created a pull request and we want to see if the tests are still green. And I don't want to do that always manually because I am a human and I make mistakes and I forget it also, and I'm really bad with this. So we create our own GitHub Actions. And the good thing is, if you have a Dart project, not a Flutter project, a Dart project in this case, you can just click on Setup Workflow here because it is for Dart specified. And as you see, we run Dart pub-get, Dart analyze, and Dart test. And hey, this sounds exactly like the stuff that I need. And what I want to do is, if I push on the branch's master, and if I create a pull request that targets master, what does that mean? If we go to the pull requests once more and have a look inside of it, we can see here that our branch MDW Mr. Weber upgrade process goes into master. So this is the idea. So if we go back to this file, we see it runs on the Ubuntu, it checks out the whole thing, we see that Dart is installed, dependencies are installed, we call Dart pub-get, and after that we analyze the project and run the tests. As you see, this is a new file here because it's the file editor in Dart, in GitHub. And what's happening is it creates a new folder, .github, inside of our project. And inside of the workflows folder, we find now this Dart YAML that we can call whatever we want. As long as it is a YAML file and it is valid, it will take it, because here the name is more important for the run. So what we can do is calling this test run, I don't know, Flutter, Dart koans. Good. Then we start committing and create that. I think I will not add anything here, and we commit the whole thing and done. So, interesting enough. So what happened next? If we go now to the pull requests, did it actually run? And I'm not sure if it will now directly run. The reason is it will not understand that there is a GitHub action for that yet, or it was not sure. But it runs it immediately for the main branch. Which brings me to the next point. I have here still the branch master, which I don't like because I think it's not inclusive, I think was the name. Nice hairstyle, thank you. I was at the barber this week and I was regretting it a little bit because it's a bit too short, but that's okay. Can you do something on uploading files with Flutter on mobile? I can absolutely do that, and I did that already sometimes where we used the image picker, selected images from an application. I think the recipe app that I did with Mahtab also included that. We saved it even on a shared preferences, but I know the live streams to watch after is always a bit tiresome, so I can understand if you didn't see that yet. But I can make maybe an extra video for that separately. So let's have a look. The analyze of the project didn't work. And the reason is, of course, these things. So we have to ignore that. It's not possible with. So if we go to our project again and have a look in the analysis options, we will have to remove some stuff. Unused local variable. Yeah. Invalid format for the enable experiment section. What does that mean? Like that? No? Let's check. Analysis, options, unused local variable, customize static, and here we go. Suppressing rules, and I want to have that To suppress more than one rule. Yeah, I don't want to do it inline. I would do it for a whole part. Linter rules and... Ah, is it a linter rule maybe? Not an analyzer. Huh. What's the reason why he's mad? I don't get that completely. Or should I just add that here? Unused local variable. Then we remove that. Maybe that works. Nope. Now it works. I think this is now a warning instead of, no, an info instead of an error. Good. Analyzes, or better, static analyzes. And the reason is remove, keep unused variables. Cool, let's push that. And with that on the server, we should see now the running CI, hopefully. Actions. Ah, here we go. And as you see, inside of our merge request or pull request, we see now that the test run Dart coins is inside of it. And now we only have to set up our build pipeline, or better, our GitHub repository, that this one is not mergeable until this one is run through. So let's have a look. And hopefully, fingers crossed, everything works. My lint rule was correct, but it needed a minus. I don't think so. But pedantic is deprecated? Really? Completely? Yeah, it could be. I think they use now Flutter, right? I think was the name, or Flutter lint or something like that. But good point. We can also upgrade that. So our tests are all passed and a completed job. So with that, if we go back to our pull request, this is the great thing. We have this green check mark and we know that our code at least run the tests and everything works with that. So that means what I can do now is I can rebase and merge, and we'll do that. And I confirm that. And with that, we have done that. We have a deleted branch. So now the only thing that I will create is that I am not able to merge it into my, before I do that, I rename the master branch. I think I can do that also in the settings. Head over to branches, find here the master and rename it to main, which is the correct name that we should use for branches today, or for the main branch. Well, easy enough. So is now renamed to, okay, got it. So the question is the workflow still working correctly? And it works on master, so we have to change that. And we have to change it to main. Main, start commit. Great stuff, that works. And now just the merge request change. And I think, where was it? I think that was branches. And I think I have to protect the branch. The name is main. Reviews, no. Requires status check to pass before merges. I think this was the one. Requires signed commits. Status checks that are required. Was it a status check? I'm not sure anymore if it was something different. Linear administrator restrict to allow force pushes, not in the slightest. Was it not a status check? Success, failure, error? What is the status? Okay, there is none. I create that for now. It asks me for my email again. I will have to quickly go to the bathroom. I am back in 1 sec. Sorry for the intermediate pause. to create more pages with different texts. I see right now starting soon is wrong, of course. So, thank you, Mino. And I was on toilet. What are you doing? So your lint rule was correct. Analyzer errors unused warning like this. Okay, did I? But it works right now. I don't know. It should be fine. I think it was because I needed when I started the experimental one. But I think you are right with the and this we should change the pedantic package. I think that would be fantastic. You have issues with your shared preferences test, Tobias, as the test somehow caches the changes from the previous test. Yeah, I experienced that a lot, and I read that also a lot. To have the tests, if they are unit tests, of course, and they are depending on each other, you do something wrong. Probably you have to clean your shared preferences, because what could happen is if you just initialize it once and you don't clean it, it will save it on the device, so on your test framework. And if you cache something like that, it's getting difficult. Also, the same thing can happen if you do it in your integration tests, because you work on the real device, right? And I have to slowly tune down a bit the music, I guess. So, cool. Hello, have a good day. Have your own good day, Unknown Wizard. Great to have you here. And thank you for the subscription, Untamed. Good. Besides of all that, I think that works now. And I wanted to secure this here with the status checks. Status checks are required. I hope this does already the trick, but we can try that immediately because I want to replace this pedantic file. And Mino, do you have in mind right now what is the replacement for pedantic? The package is deprecated. Thanks so much. So instead, please see package lints, which is a recommendation from Dart team, or package Flutter lints. Okay. The official lint rules. Wow. Dart create, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So this would be probably the one that we want to use. Interesting. Was it not Pascal Welch who created Linte, I think was the package? I thought this was the loved one. Is it not this one? No, it's also from this. No. That was a different package. Or the lints or something? Or just lint? Just lint. It was just lint. So this was from Pascal Welch, and I think... Interesting. So the Flutter team was also responding to it and created their own set of rules. Fair enough. I will take that one now because we have anyway a Dart project rather than a real Flutter project. So let's install that. Remove pedantic in this case. Fair enough. And with that we can push it to the limits or create a new branch for it and then push it to the limits. So master will not exist anymore, so we delete that one. We try to fetch new stuff. And I really need something for the future that's like a keyboard shortcut holder, something that shows me keyboard shortcuts to the screen. If you know a good tool that does that for me, so that I can share my keyboard shortcuts with you, that would be amazing. Flutter lints, yep. So origin main, we check that out and we create a new branch like mdw. We replace linting rules. Good. Static analyzers are good. Upgraded linting rules. Commit. And let's see if our project still runs, because of course the rules has changed, right? Yep, looks all good. If you press that red arrow here, you restart your Dart analyzer server, which helps you sometimes that if you don't see errors, that the errors getting displayed, and also vice versa. Maybe you get errors displayed and they don't make much sense, then you can press that and sometimes that helps you already to clean it up. Cool. Sponsoring this time. Mino, you are great. get 100 points this time. I hope you are feeling well with it. So we have that. This is the docs. I want to go to my pull request that I need to create. Let's create it with the same name. I don't mind too much. And the only thing that I want to see is if the status check is now in place. And sadly not. I can still merge without anything. Interesting. Why is that some checks haven't completed? Do I need to add something here? I thought that would be it actually. Applies to branch name pattern, branch protection rule. Yeah, we want to require. That's for sure. And what would be build test? Maybe? No? So I guess the status checks are the ones that we find if we go to the workflow, and inside of here we should have on push rubber, and here's the job, and the job is called build. So that's the reason we find only build here now. And if I head over here again, and can I restart this one? Rerun all. Let's quickly head over, and here we go. Now we cannot merge. Or at least we can merge, but only if I'm administrator and I'm doing it with force. I have not tried Windows 11 actually. I have my computer here, and actually that would be something I would be very interested. Maybe this would be a cool live stream for next week. Sounds very optimistic actually. And I see right now that the Flutter logo is directly in my face all the time. But I hope this doesn't bother you too much. At least you didn't say anything so far, which is a good sign. So can I unlock that? Yeah, move myself maybe there. Hopefully it doesn't bother you too much. Next time I have to keep that in mind. Hey Ambresh, nice to see you. No worries Tobias, you are more than happy. Tear down is a good option to clean it down, yeah. I think Windows 11 has not been released, if I have that in mind, but I think you can download it if you want, something like that. So if you are interested, you can check it out already. Or is it released? No, I don't think so. Officially released on 5th of October. At least according to Yahoo. Microsoft is allowing here Windows 11. It looks pretty sleek, which I like, so could be very interesting. I don't like that there is more apps pre-installed, like for example LinkedIn and stuff, but yeah, I think that's fine. Could be very interesting actually. Let's see. So if you are interested, here's the site. Go for it. I'm very good. I'm very good. I have a lot of fun with live streaming again, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks we have some videos prepared. Well, what I mean is hopefully I have some videos prepared now. So there will come some new content soon to the channel that is not a short, that is a real actual thing. So that's pretty great. Oh, I up-clicked that. That was something about not too important, I guess. So what do we have? List of buses. These are just different messages. Done. Can now receive sponsorships through GitHub sponsors. Okay. Nah, don't mind. It's not now. Go away. Good. With that in mind, we can now create new chapters. We have tests that run if the chapters are broken, and if you don't know the Dart code still, there is now the possibility that you learn Dart in a playful Dart or TDD driven way. And I want to also expand that to a Flutter application. It was very smooth, cool. Can I make a tutorial about Ci Cd and Flutter? Yeah, sure. Do you have a platform in mind, or what kind of Ci Cd do you interested? Or did you check out already my comparison video with GitHub Actions and CodeMagic? That could help you maybe to at least give an understanding, because the first 5 minutes I take some time to explain what are Ci Cds, what they are for, how they are built. and then you can maybe already relate a lot of that. And now I'm a bit open what we should do next. Should we work further on Dart koans? Are you interested, or should we search another topic that we should work on? Do you have something in mind? So we have all that. No worries, you're most welcome. So what we can do is at least try to get one more koan inside. Flutter Markdown? No, I didn't. Was there not a package from Flutter Markdown? A Markdown renderer for Flutter. A lightweight markup language into Flutter widget containing a rich It supports the original format but no inline HTML. Flutter Markdown is built on top of Dart Markdown package, which parses the Markdown into an abstract syntax tree or an HTML representation. Like when Markdown was developed by exactly, this track was allowed. Interesting. So I have not tried it, but I really like the idea actually. So you can just use this Markdown tag and then you can write your Markdown inside of it. That would be pretty cool. Is there an example? Yeah. Demo screen, thanks for that. A bit complicated, but you love it, that's good. Hey Deepak, nice to see you. Hope you are well. So what do we have here now? Flutter Markdown, examples, and examples opens lib, and there we have the demos. Basic Markdown demo. Markdown demo is the string nodes, okay. And where do we use it? Down here with the future of nodes, okay. Hard to tell. Okay, so it builds the stuff, set state, Markdown with the snapshot data. Okay, it's getting downloaded. Interesting. Link on tab. Okay, so you need to specify for each element inside what to happen. Handle the link. Yeah, if you click on a link, for example, you have to handle that via this one. Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult, I guess, because Markdown is not really made for that, right? Cool. But I like the idea that it's going further with abstractions, because we need more packages for Flutter, especially packages that are well designed and documented, right? It's very, very important to keep the environment alive. Thank you, Mino, for the ideas today. I just add that as a bookmark. Good. So, but what I want to do is I'm taking the next chapter, I guess, from here. So the Python koans was the idea that I bring step by step into the Dart way, more or less. And if we check out, I think they have these things called in chapters, isn't it? So need an illustration more. Never. Sometimes we will ask a class trigger, for example. See yourself. What is a class name? Need an illustration. No, I thought this follows a strict hierarchy, and we just need to find what's that. Koans txt. Ah, yeah, exactly. So this was it. First about assert, then about strings, about none would be the next. And for us, none would be null, probably. About none. Now let's see how we can implement a new Dart koan. We would copy that over, for example, just to have an idea what we want to implement. So that's what I said. I'm not really doing here something completely new. I really just copy it over and try to make it as compilable for Dart users as possible. We have this class we define, test is none. Keep it empty, it's just annoying, I guess. Can do that by the side. And what we can do is we have also a class with the chapter, because I call them chapters at the moment. And we have here chapter 3 is about null. And now we can have a look at what we can do with our null and what null is. Check-in of topic channel. Okay, for pretty cool. So is it a block entry or let me check quickly. So, too many channels, I tell you. So here. Nice, great stuff. I will quickly copy the URL and then we'll share it here. Oop. Package material, stateful widget, example. Text hello. Great. But where is the Markdown now in this case? Okay, so back to about null in the meantime. So we have test none is an object, unlike null in a lot of languages. So we want to check if Dart has a null language. So how did we do it? We had just a function where we had an assert inside of it. So that would be a copy of that one. We say none is none. Interesting. For example, don't know yet. So we would remove that, and something is string. We wouldn't have that. We would have null here in that case. And now we would have some hint for that. But what is instance? Can we have that matcher? Instance of is it, I think. And then we have object. Is it object? Good question. Thank you for subscribing, Milo Plays. Great to have you on board. And I feel right now that I'm tired. I don't know what I'm doing. I just write code. That doesn't help anyone. So what I would say is I make today a little bit shorter episode. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm very tired because I couldn't sleep tonight. Very good. I was awake at 3 o'clock and after that I was awake till now and I feel slowly sluggish and I make that I don't write good code with that. I hope you could get something out of it. Thank you so much, Minu, for the donation and also for the great support here. My water is already empty, so getting difficult. I hope I could help you a little bit with the different things and learning what Dart coins is. The next chapter would be maybe Windows 11 installing. I think that would be amazing. Also, I got some very good inspirations for a new video. I also want to do the video for the servers, talking about Dart shelf and also talking what is server and client architecture. I think that would be amazing. Having some looks on how that works and how they interconnect with each other. And I got the idea with the CI pipeline, which I also will take a look into. So if you don't have any additional questions, we will probably see us next Sunday again. And what I will do is I will create a questionnaire again on YouTube, where I will ask you what you are interested to see next Sunday in a live stream. So we have like a 2-hour block, and inside of that I want to explain you something, or we want to learn something together to just have a deep dive into it. So if you are interested in also somehow help me with finding topics in these live streams, feel free to check that out and answer there. Cool. And else, there is nothing else to say then. Thank you so much for the live stream. Had made tons of funs again, and we will see us then the next time. Enjoy and have a great evening. Bye. On next Saturday? Okay, I will try that. The problem with Saturday, I always have some troubles with finding good spots there. But I will have a look if we can manage that. All right, bye everyone. Till the next time.